Hi, I'm just gonna jump on really quickly and share two things that God has been teaching me recently. Uh, so the first thing is this concept of time, and I know everyone's talking about it right now, but uh, for me, I'm just used to an active lifestyle. I'm used to jumping from one thing to the next thing, and so of course this situation, this period of time, uh, has stopped all of that. So in my devotions, I really feel like God just continues to bring up um, this concept of time, and it's really been convicting me. So, um, yeah, Psalm 144 verse 4 says, "Man is like a breath; his days are like a passing shadow." James 4:13 says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes." Um, I'm sure my family can vouch for this. I often tend to make things all about me, and um, I also tend to like to know what's going on, and so that kind of causes me sometimes to overthink things and maybe be a bit anxious about things, and um, yeah, that's not a good thing. And so whenever I read these verses, they really just give me a sense of peace. Um, and we've been going through Psalm 90 at the minute in church and in our small groups. And just verse 2, before the mountains were brought forth, or even you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God. Uh, this link in between these two thoughts of everything evolving around myself and this verse that before the mountains were created, before the earth, He is God. Um, so yeah, God's just really been challenging me and putting that in my heart, and that's really just convicted me. Um, so I hope it challenges you guys too. And the second thing that God has been teaching me is um, this concept of being still, and these verses just continue to repetitively just come up in my life recently. And they're in Luke chapter 10, and it's the account from starting from verse 38. It's the account that Jesus comes to Mary and Martha's house. And, Martha, she's running around, she's doing everything, preparing for Jesus, whereas Mary just sits at his feet. And Jesus really just points out and makes an example out of this, that how important it is to just do that, and be in the presence of God. So, yeah, these verses just, I'm sure people are tired of me talking about these verses recently, but they just continue to just grasp me and challenge me, and they're just really on my heart. I think it's just so important, and it actually links really well in again with Psalm 90, verse 1. It says, "Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations." I think this is a massive challenge. Um, for God to be our dwelling place. I think that should be the prayer of this church, that it's Him that we should seek this, in Him that our fulfillment should be and our peace should be. Yeah, so I just in trying to link these two things together, there's so often in our lives that we're focusing on the next thing. We're focusing on what's going to happen next week, next month, next year. We don't know what that holds. Um, and so reading these verses just give me such a peace. And I guess the challenge that I want to leave with you is that this idea of just God being our dwelling place. As Mary sat at Jesus' feet, He just made such an example that this was a good thing, that she had chosen the good portion. So yeah, I just want to encourage you guys to just take time to just stop and to be present with God during these days.